Hello again. Part 3 of Solomon in all his glory. So it was that Israel became a mercantile people. Its cash economy dates from Solomon's reign. Israel became a race of middlemen, capitalists, in contrast to its prior rustic agrarian culture. And so Jewish nostalgia for the golden age of Solomon is really ironic. It has about it an ambivalence which we can, in this dangerous age, consider very carefully. In the name of material progress and prosperity, what heavy burdens are we hoisting upon our own backs? Or worse, leaving our children to struggle with when we are dust? And with Solomon, with all of this, all of his later extravagance, he had something that none of us, I can't say none, most of us will never have: 2 personal visits from Yahweh. Not even David had enjoyed that privilege. One thing he did not have: he had no Nathan to call him to account, no prophet, no accountability. He even took to appointing priests, which tipped the balance of power in Israel's theocracy precipitously toward tyranny. Here we should look at our prosperity, our politics. What accountability do our button pushers have? Whose interests are they really interested in? Amazingly, in all this compromise, even flagrant disobedience, Solomon remained a formal worshipper of the true God. Yet his extravagant public worship of Yahweh, thousands of bloody sacrifices, did not lessen his guilt before God. His sin was made worse by syncretism, public ritual in both the temple of Yahweh and the sanctuary of gods like Chemosh, the god of Moab. Yahweh, Chemosh, and Mammon, an unholy trinity, make. But let us ask ourselves, is Christ on our lips while Mammon is in our heart? How long will we straddle the theological fence? If Chemosh be the true God, let us worship him and not name the name of Christ ever again. After you read the account in 1 Kings, read Chronicles' account of Solomon's reign, and you'll note something very interesting. Almost all these embarrassing aspects of Solomon's reign are omitted in Chronicles. In the opinion of some commentators, they were just less edifying than the double account of Solomon's greatness we get in both Kings and Chronicles. Here too we might seek light on our generation's media practices. To whom are our leaders and media accountable? Are we being told the whole truth? When your truth has a spin on it, you can be betting that it will topple soon. What do you know about the dark side of our institutions and organizations? Who profits from the truth they let us know? Thus Solomon's glory became Solomon's disgrace. The mess was avoidable. The law of God did not prohibit money, but prohibited excess. The law of God did not even prohibit multiple marriage if you had sufficient shekels, but did prohibit alliances with worshippers of other gods. Solomon's greatness diminished in direct proportion to the growth of his glory. For the glory which Christ conceded to Solomon was, in the context of the Lord's comment, not related to simplicity and singleness of vision. His eye did not remain simple. Life became more complex, nay, totally, inextricably tangled, and the knot he created finally strangled not just himself, but all Israel. Today's mess in the Middle East is directly traceable to Solomon's compromise. The catastrophe of his reign is still with us. His reliance on political alliances, military might, and his love of ostentatious wealth finally undermined what wisdom he attained. What was the immense cost of the temple, the military, and the lavish lifestyle? Virtual enslavement of tens of thousands of Israelites and Gentile neighbors as well. The yoke was too heavy to bear. It would be thrown off in revolt, in violence, and in civil war in the next generation, in the permanent tearing asunder of Israel. Read 1 Kings 11:12, where you have the immediate fallout from Solomon's death. His people today have not learned from Solomon's folly. Israel, and for that matter the Christian West as well, still have more faith in carnal weapons, carnal covenants, than in Yahweh, whose very name proclaims him the only God of covenant faithfulness. Let me say that again, even more simply. Yahweh is the only God who keeps covenants. All human alliances, therefore, at least those where God's express will is ignored, are ultimately deals with the devil. Next time, our last segment, are we seeking wealth, fame, and glory, or wisdom? Have we learned anything from the life and legacy of Solomon?